Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about your camp switch, your switch to Jackson, and you've answered a lot of questions on that. But now that fight week is here, how do you assess the fight camp went, your first fight camp outside of Jackson's?
It was light speed. We were moving at light speed, and I've learned more in 2-3 months than I've learned in 10 years working at Jackson Wing. And I'm excited to get out there and do what I do with the handful of tools that I've been building over the course of a 18, 19 year career. Things are sharpened up. My body is excellent. My mind is focused, and I'm ready to go out there and shine.
You said that you learned a lot more outside of Jackson's in this short period of time than you did in the 10-year period that you were there. What was the main reason, or the thing that was holding you back at Jackson's from sharpening your tools and expanding on your skills?
I would have to say it was just time, energy, and love. The time and the energy was not there for Diego Sanchez. Priorities were priorities for the team, and the team involves a lot of young up-and-comers and a couple title fights, but Diego Sanchez was at the bottom of the list of priorities, and it is what it is. And me as a man, I hold myself of high value, and I know the importance of who I am. So for me to not make a change would be foolish.
You talked about earlier about a lot of people writing you off, but when it's your own, not to say that they wrote you off, but when it's your own team and your own camp that you've been with for so long in that time period, did that sort of hurt? Did that sort of feeling, did you take it personal? Did that hurt you emotionally?
It wasn't emotional, because the truth of it is Diego Sanchez has been training himself for the past 8 years. I have not, it's never been any different. It was just finding a trainer who actually trained me that opened my eyes to, wow, I was training myself all this time. I was doing everything myself. And so then I had to realize, okay, I'm giving 10% of my purse as a good man that I am for every single camp. 10%, the numbers add up. And I made a decision, and I made the right decision.
And now that you have made that choice and that decision, what Diego can we expect in there? Is it the same as usual, or are you going to bring sort of newfound skills that maybe we haven't seen before?
Well, let me just tell you this. Everybody watched my last fight. I fought an up-and-comer on a win streak, 26, 27 years old. I was a plus 290 underdog, and I went out there in the fight with the name Diego Sanchez, the man who has been in the brawls, the man who has taken 5 to give 1, the man who's shed more blood than any other man in this organization. And working 10 days with Josh Fabia in secret, late nights at my house. I seen things different in that fight, and I was hit one time. Well, we've worked a lot more than 10 days in the evenings at my house, and I'm prepared, and you're gonna see a completely different Diego Sanchez in all areas of my game, because I had a lot of tools. I know how to strike. I know how to wrestle. I know how to grapple. We worked a lot on my movement, getting this machine to fluidly move better. Then I get a flow from my spirit and my mind in a much more hydro process.
And speaking of underdog, again, you are an underdog against Michael Chiesa. Why is it that people keep writing you off? Why do you think people keep writing off your pedigree when you've been in there since The Ultimate Fighter 1? You won The Ultimate Fighter 1 and you have such a storied track record. Why do people keep writing you off?
Well, it is obvious to me. People in power know what I'm about to do to this man. And they are going to make a lot of money on it. And that's why the odds are what the odds are.
And speaking of your career and your pedigree, Gilbert Melendez is on the card as well, and you guys shared the octagon together in what Joe Rogan called one of the greatest UFC fights of all time. Have you seen Gilbert? Have you spoken to him about anything, life in general, or about your meeting?
Absolutely. Me and Gilbert, we did a submission grappling match 3 months ago, where we both did a little submission grappling match. We hung out. We're good friends. We're good friends. I was just talking to him in the back. I told him, are you excited? It's been a while. He's like, to be honest, I'm a little hungry, D. He's like, it wasn't so bad till today. He's like, I'm hungry. He's like, yeah, everybody's getting better at cutting weight. I'm like, not me. I'm getting better at not cutting weight. I woke up at 172 this morning, 1 pound overweight. I went and had a nice breakfast, and I'm feeling fantastic. And I wish the best for Gilbert. And if the guy he's fighting, gets the Gilbert that I know is capable of doing what he's capable of doing, he's gonna have a rough night, because Gilbert is not an average man in any way. He's a champion.
You have a lot of respect for Gilbert. Not to say that you don't for Michael Chiesa, but in that stare down, that was very intense, and you stared up and down at him. How do you feel towards your opponent, even inside the cage and outside the cage? How do you feel towards Michael with having that intense stare down that you did?
I feel as a man should feel when he's gonna go and take his life. How would you feel if you were gonna take his life? That's how I feel. I'm coming with the mindset and the mentality. I'm here to ruin him. I'm not here to respect him and give him a hug and a handshake. If this man chooses to want to respect me and be my friend after the fight, then that's on him. If he earns my respect in the fight, then I will give him respect. But as far as right now, believe me, buddy, I've been in the ER. I've paid my dues to the game. I'm talking 500 stitches. I'm talking CT scans to check my brain to make sure it's not bleeding. I'm talking going to brain health centers just to be extra careful, because I have a future past fighting. And my future past fighting depends on the mindset that I have going into the war that I have to go into. And if my mindset is weak and says respect, says shake hands, I may pay the price later on in life. So my mindset is kill.
And how do you see, not to say that you're on the end of your career, but how do you see this sort of portion of your career unfolding and life outside of fighting? Have you thought about that at all?
Absolutely. Little thoughts here and there. I know where I am as a man, I know where I am as a fighter, and I just told you that I am just getting started. This is a brand new reinvention of Diego Sanchez. I am younger than any man here in this building, cellularly. the edge that I have going into battle, having the experience and the wisdom that I've attained over the course of 17, 18 years, puts me here, puts them there. I'm not the old man, I am the real man, the wise man.
And finally, Diego, having that experience and being there since the beginning, since the tough days, I've asked this question to other fighters as well. There's been a lot of talk, and you said it yourself, that you're feeling healthy at 172, fighting at 170. There's been a lot of talk about adding more weight classes. What is your thoughts on that and the whole weight cutting issue in mixed martial arts right now?
I pushed for 165 for 3.5, 4 years. It's not gonna happen. As long as Dana White's the man that is holding the throne of the UFC, it's not gonna happen. So I gave up on it. I say, you know what? Why? Why do I need to cut any weight? Why do I need to cut any weight? I'm gonna fight at my true weight and change the game for all these young men who think they're getting an advantage by killing themselves for a week under the stresses and the pressures that UFC puts us under. Media, obligations, interviews, photo shoots, everything, travel. You're putting all this stack on stack on stack on stack on stack on stack. Stress, 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 stress. And then you ain't eating anything. And then you're cutting salt out of your diet. Then you're cutting carbs out of your diet. These men are drained men. They are the towel that has been wrung out. How do I know this? Because I was once that wrung out towel. And now, this towel has some water in it, boy. And when it whips, you gonna feel it.
Is that frustrating though? Have you expressed that frustration to Dana and let him know, like?
Dana's the boss, and I respect my boss. So, where do I have the say so to come to my boss and say I'm frustrated?
Perfect. Thank you, Diego. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.